This year, the Yidan Prize Foundation is launching its first ever education technology challenge, in which 3 innovative EdTech ideas will be showcased in an innovative EdTech lab section. Now, to lead that session for us, I'd like to invite Jacob DAYAN, founder and CEO of EdTech Israel, and I will turn the floor over to him.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to be here and privileged to have the opportunity to moderate this session about the Education Technology Lab. I'm coming from Israel. I don't know how many people are familiar with this Mediterranean country over there. And I was actually, engaged in a conversation with you for the last 2 days, thinking, okay, what can I bring new to the table? What maybe we didn't discuss, and what maybe some other ideas that can come from Israel that can inspire some people over here? Because definitely I believe in the necessity of events like this one in order to create global conversation about the primary needs that we have in education worldwide. So, Israel had the reputation, or received the reputation of being startup nation, with so many startup companies, technology companies. Actually, technology is the #1 driver of our economy, and this is what brought us from a GDP of 20K US dollars per capita in 2000 to more than 41 at 2017. And not much has been discussed in this summit about the involvement of the private sector. But I think that if you come to Israel, you'll find that the private sector, all those high-tech companies, are very much concerned and are also very much driving many of the initiatives in order to drive learning forward. And I emphasize learning and not necessarily schooling, and I'll refer to it in a second. Because they're concerned, in order to maintain Israel's leadership in research and development, we need to have more engineers, more professionals, and this is not something that the education system today necessarily provides to the high-tech companies around Israel. So they are involved around the scenes in driving a lot of initiatives that if you come to Israel, the Minister of Education will not even tell you about it, or maybe he will not say that actually he's just executing something that someone else forced him to do, or drove him to do that. And I'd like to suggest that we've been talking a lot about teachers and schools, but we learn from so many other people that inspire us through our lifelong learning. So it is our parents, our peers, our co-workers, our companies where we work at. So if we take this a little bit to maybe more an abstract discussion, why are we focusing so much attention on teachers and schools where we need to maybe focus our attention, like we claim we do, on the learner? And I believe that we are in a very fascinating time. Everyone is looking for education innovation, and we all say it's about the human beings, it's about the talents, it's about everyone fulfills his best potential in life. So if we really care about the learner, if we really focus on about the individual, then it's not necessarily just the role of schools to do that. It's not necessarily just the roles of teachers to do that. It is also the parents, the family, the organizations you work at, and so many other people that around you that influence your life. So if we actually take those, institutional organizations out from the equation for a second, I know it's difficult to do it when you are in the public sector and you believe that you are controlling the ecosystem, but it's not necessarily true. At least what I have learned over the years is that all this movement for education innovation is a global phenomenon, but it has a national manifestation. And the way that it's being interpreted in Israel is different than the way it's being interpreted in Finland, or in China, or in Hong Kong, or in any other nation. So in Israel in particular, we question, where are we learning? Some people argue that what you learn until you're 18, 95% comes out of the environment and not the schools, but yet 98% of the budgets go to schools. So you learn at youth movements, you learn in a lot of NGOs that are sometimes driven by the private sector in order to fuel innovation. And there's also some discussion about EdTech, education technology. Now, I'd like also to suggest that today we cannot achieve anything without technology. So if we want to achieve impact, if we want to achieve scale, but also if we want to achieve the learner perspective, the personal attention to each and every individual, then all this can be magnified with technology, so we can actually take the technology out of the way, out of the conversation, and just focus what magnificent things that we can do in order to achieve impact, in order to achieve scale, in order to achieve each and every individual and give him his best potential. Now, I think that this is where we're industry today, or let's say where all of us are standing today, and we actually have a lot of questions. I'm not so sure that we have all the answers. I would even argue that maybe most of the answers have not been invented yet. Now, in Israel, having this startup mentality and having so many accelerators and incubators and a lot of entrepreneurship mentality, we always look at the person. Today, you're going to meet 3 different companies coming from 3 different schools of thought. Each of them is highly motivated to make an impact on the world. And each one is going to present some solution. But I would like to invite you to look beyond the solution that they are presenting right now. Because our experience tells us that when you're an early stage startup, when you reach scale, you will be reshaping, adapting, and learning and modifying what you're going to do. So if you ask many of the investors in Israel what they are looking at startups, they say we look at the people, we look at the team, because they come with this bright idea, but the more that they will progress, they will reshape what they do. So I welcome this opportunity to have this cross-border collaboration, discussion between different companies. The format will going to be very simple. We will ask each company to the stage. Each one will have 5 minutes to pitch, and then we are going to have some 5 minutes to as a Q&A. And at the end, we will all vote for our favorite. You should decide what's your criteria for your favorite company, but that's what we are going to do. So I would like to invite the first company. It's Nisa Cornish and Viola Lam from Find Solution AI.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nisa Cornish. I'm the BD Officer of Find Solution AI, and I'm here today to share with you about our motivational AI learning software called 4 Little Trees. So to kick off, I'm going to share a little bit of research that came out of MIT last year in August about education. So conventional education and traditional learning models focus on passive learning. So I teach, you take notes, learn, and listen. Our software is intended to it's called motivational model, and it's intended to encourage a more active learning, and in this way, increase the learning efficiency from around 3% to 10% or more. And in doing so, also increase the cost efficiency of our education systems. So let me share how we do that. In a typical classroom situation, children respond to the material in different ways. They might be bored, they might be upset, they might have issues underlying. Our software, through visual tracking and emotional identification AI, helps to identify where the pain points are for the children learning and help the educator and the children themselves to understand where they need more support, and provides it in real time. So, and also by using analytics of the data that the software takes, we're able to provide even better learning solutions overall. In a traditional classroom setting, you may have a 1 to 25 or more teacher-to-student ratio. So that makes it very challenging for the teacher to actively engage each student. And in this way, it takes a long time for a teacher to understand through tests and assessments where a student is having struggles in their learning. To flip it, with our software, 4 Little Trees, there's a simulated 1-to-1 teacher-student ratio, which means that students in real time, when they encounter a problem or when they struggle with something or they're having difficulties with the learning situation, they're immediately served with support and materials that they need to progress and improve. So in this way, we're able to meet our deliverables. So on the one hand, through in real time assessing and reacting to students' needs, we're able to predict as the software works more and more with a given student, to predict what that student will need, and in that way improve the learning effectiveness and efficiency by up to 12%, as we've seen in some classrooms. And on the other side of it, in the same way, by reacting to and predicting students' needs in real time, we're able to customize the study program and help them proceed and progress more quickly and more enjoyably. So that leads to self-motivation for the students. We've been working on this product for 6 years already. We have 2 patents granted and 29 pending globally, and we're very happy to now be working, our R&D department is working with UCL to even further refine the program and make it really useful across all kinds of scopes of students. We're very lucky to have been awarded and recognized with 21 awards in the past 3 years alone. That includes global awards such as the Young Entrepreneur Awards and local government awards in Hong Kong and China as well. So we're very happy that the recognition shows that this software is something beneficial to the overall education system. These are some images from our teacher training. We've found that the software not only helps students individually, but is also very much appreciated by teachers because it can help reduce the strain and stress on teachers in a classroom situation where one teacher may have 25 students in a classroom, maybe 8 classes in a week. They aren't able to individually support each student as much as they might like to, so this helps reduce teacher strain as well as support individual students. We're currently in over 100 schools, as a pilot program. 20 of those schools are already paying for the product, and by all reports, the kids not only thrive using the product, they enjoy it. And some reports have even shared that the children are likely to, in some cases, even want to work longer on their homework because the product serves up responses and material that's going to support the child's learning progress. Instead of being frustrated and wanting to stop, the child is motivated to continue learning and continue progressing at their own pace. So far, we've raised $5 million in our Series A round of funding. We have 1 angel investor, Mitsuho Bank in Japan, and 2 VC investors, and we're now going for a second round, a B round of funding. We're very fortunate to have been covered by a large swath of various media. So you can see on the screen a lot of local popular media names, global media as well. We've been invited to many, many events. Corporates such as HSBC and Samsung have invited us to present our product to them. You can see on the screen Chief Executive Carrie Lam sampling the product and having her eye movements tracked. So it's attracted a lot of attention across the globe, and especially here in Hong Kong. Media interviews, media focus on the product. I think that AI and education are both hot topics right now, so it's a very timely product. If you're interested, please feel free to click on the QR code to learn more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and hi, Viola.
Hi, everybody. I'm the CEO and founder of Fine Solution AI. Viola.
Wonderful. Who wants to go first?
I'm going to hand the questions over to Viola. She's the
good.
founder.
Hi, I'm Gareth. So you obviously collect a lot of data, you know, the eye tracking movements. How do you ensure that that data is then package for teachers so they can act upon it in the classroom and improve the learning in the classroom as well?
So literally, when we collect those data, we don't collect any photos, we don't collect any videos, because we only collect the metrics of the face.
Right.
So there is no privacy issue upon. And it is real time, we can directly see how they respond and real time respond to it. So the teacher can directly know, for example, if now I have 200 audience on the ground, do they really understand the thing, that kind of thing. So the teacher can directly see who is happening there and how to help them. Because I used to be a teacher. So the most biggest problem that teacher has is they want to help the kids, but the point is you cannot do every one-on-one, that kind of thing. But in this kind of thing, you can really classify them in a group, you can help them in a group.
Is this about real-time diagnostics of the child's experience in the classroom at that moment? Was my first question. And is it linked to the content in the curriculum itself? In other words, does it then automatically take them down a different pathway, or is that for the teacher then to intervene to help with that?
So for the first part, I would say we do it in two ways. So literally we can classify who needs help and who needs more help indeed. So that kind of thing, it helps the teacher a lot, especially help them to have less stress on it. So the second part, I would say for the school curriculum, normally we give them a platform, they can put in their own stuff. So it can be used inside the schools, inside all kind of areas if they want to, as long as it helps learning. Because we can help the learning efficiency from 3% all the way up to 12% within 6 months.
Okay, I have the tough job to do the time keeping over here. So I'll just use my moderator role and ask just maybe last question. How can you ensure that this data is being used for the kids and not against the kids, not to zap them when they don't listen and make sure that they go back to...
This is a very good question. So a lot of people will ask how we're going to use those data, right? So is it label the data, label the kids, are they naughty or that kind of thing? But it doesn't help learning, it doesn't help teaching. So we literally, some of the school, they will ask us, we only give the data to the teachers only because it only use it when you are learning for good. So normally it depends on how the school arrange it. So we let the kids or let the parents to arrange. They can choose how they expose the data to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I add a quick question? Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Last one.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're looking at facial recognition to
Yes.
understand the mood of the user. But if the student isn't always looking at the camera, then you don't really have that real-time data. And a lot of times I would think if a teacher is talking in front of the class, they would probably put their screen down and look at the teacher. So I don't know if that...
We have encountered with two kind of situation in class. Some of them literally, for example, like this kind of conference or seminar, because you don't have an iPad right there, right? So there's two ways that we can use it. Some of them we install a camera inside the classroom. So it works in that way. Or you can use it in terms of your iPad, your computer, it works as well. It depends on how you're going to set the scenario for you to use the app itself. Okay. So we give it the flexibility to schools.
Okay. You might also look into
I
EEG
apologize.
technology.
It's... no worries, we talk later. If you want to know more, find us. Thank you.
We can spend the full day on that. So,
Thank you.
next company is Lesson App from Finland. They had to fly like 12 or 14 hours over here. So welcome Elimaya Aunen and Thomas Tolbert.
Can we start here? Yes. According to United Nations survey, more and more children can go to school, more than ever, but they don't necessarily get the quality education. Teachers would like to help them to get quality education, but most of them are lacking knowledge, time, resources, and good new ideas. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and we think that number 4, quality education for all, is the most crucial one to find the solutions immediately. Currently, there are 65 million primary and secondary educators around the world. In order to reach that target, we would need to recruit 70 million more. How on earth we're going to reach them and train them with efficiency and with quality? With this current era,
of unlimited flow of information and communication technology. How is it possible that we can't provide basic pedagogical tools and knowledge for each and every teachers around the world? We got this personal idea, and this reality hit us when our teachers and experts were going around the world and training other teachers. Usually, the teacher was talking and the children were just passively listening. According to research, this is not promoting learning well. Coming from Finland, country of teaching and learning excellence, we thought that we definitely have to do something and we need to contribute.
So our solution was Lesson App, a mobile tool to plan quality lessons. Its foundation is in modern research-based pedagogy. The teachers can use Lesson App to design, store, and share lessons with other teachers. Because of this, we have a large database of ready-to-teach lessons that the teachers can use, and also over 100 different teaching methods that they can choose from to use in their lessons. We have tested Lesson App around the world, and the feedback has been awesome, as you can see here. So how does it actually look like in action? We will now see.
Can we have the
Before you begin,
audio?
give your lesson a name that describes the lesson's topic. On the left, you will find the building blocks for the lesson. You can pick the building block you want and drag it into the design area in gray. For example, if you picked orientation to be the start of your lesson, you can now choose which orientation method you would like to use by clicking the Select method. If you would like to learn more about the different teaching methods, click the name of the method on the list. Here you will find information about the selected method, what the method is about, what you can use it for, how you can use it, how much time is needed, the group size, and what subjects is the method suitable for. Now that you have chosen your first building block and the first teaching method, you can click the pen icon to add additional details for how you're going to use the method. If you want to check the instructions, click the eye icon. Finally, you can adjust the time used for this building block. Now you can fetch the next building block for your lesson. You can once again choose the method you want to use and write a more detailed description. If you can't find a method you would like to use, feel free to create your own by picking the Other Method option. Continue the process until your lesson plan is ready. When you're finished, be sure to fill in the details to specify the subject and target age group of the lesson. In the Notes section, you can add more specifics about your lesson. When your lesson is ready, save the plan. Congratulations! You have now created your first lesson with Lesson App. You can browse your own lessons in Browse Your section, or you can see what kind of lessons the other users have created.
As a contribution, we would like to share the knowledge for everyone, as sharing is caring. So we are offering Lesson App free for everyone. And if you want to join the community, you can download the Lesson App right away if you want. Our ultimate goal is the joy of learning, and it could look like this in the classroom. We want to make impact in education and in people by empowering teachers. So on behalf of Lesson App, I would like to thank you. My name is Elli-Maija Ahonen.
And I'm Tuomas Taubert.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Elli-Maija and Thomas. Who would like to maybe ask a question? Okay, you think I'm running the show over here. I'm not. Okay, so thank you very much, Elli-Maija. Thank you, Thomas. We are going to listen now to our third speaker.
Thank you so much.
So please welcome Hilary Yip. minor minus.
Try again.
Thank you. Now this reminds me eerily of my first pitch. Oh, sorry, seems to be at the wrong spot. I've always had trouble learning Mandarin. I've been learning it all my life, pretty much since I was 3 years old. And it's difficult. No matter how much effort I put into it, it seems that my progress always stagnated. I was never as good as I wished to be. That pretty much reached a breaking point when I was 10 years old, and we were looking for a period of time to find solutions so I could improve my Mandarin in a short space of time. That led us to going overseas to Taiwan for a month in a summer boot camp where we had no choice but to speak in Mandarin and Mandarin alone. That meant that it improved almost overnight, and my Chinese improved so much in 1 month, and that progress just could not match up to 7, 8 years. That stuck with me. I asked myself if I could bring this experience online so that kids everywhere can experience this without having to fly overseas if they even had the means to do so. After the program in which I took part in, and they told me all about doing entrepreneurship there, I decided to turn this into reality after support from people who told me that this could be a real and viable business. For the next 6-ish months, I spent time pivoting, trying out our product, doing trials with other kids. And once we were happy with what we set out to achieve and found a solution that we thought would match that, we launched a beta app on the App Store last May. Since then, we've managed to amass more than 40,000 downloads from more than 50 countries. And I saw the interaction on there, and it inspired me. Kids who never knew each other before came together to talk about all sorts of different topics, whether it was their experience at school of being lonely, being bullied, their experiences with being autistic, or just teaching languages and chatting in general. This inspired me. I knew that we could do so much more than just this. Around that time, I also left school, and I'm now homeschooled. And that allowed me to get more clarity on education and what that looks like right now. And someone told me that education is not turning out the kids we need for the future. Education, essentially, is building up skills we need for the future, which is not being done right now. And we know that this is important, especially today in our changing world. So that leads me to talk about 21st century skills, skills that are multidisciplinary, things that will definitely be useful in the future. And I'm not going to dwell on this because I don't want to bore anyone out, and I'm sure we all know enough about this. So Minor Minus' vision is to be community first. We are first and foremost a children's community. That way, we can connect with each other, chat together, then learn together. In the future, we hope to bring on people and partners who are experts in soft skills, bring them onto Minor Minus so that kids can learn together in a different way, to learn different things that they wouldn't be able to access in school. Right now in the adult world, there's a lot about relearning, unlearning, and to gain skills that we need. Now, I want to ask you something. If we need to relearn and unlearn, then why can't we just learn those skills when we're kids? That's something Minor Minus hopes to address. For our next step, we plan to do just this, and we're starting conversations already to turn this into reality. But one thing I wanted to talk about today is that what allows me to be here. When I was 10 years old, I was just someone who had no idea about entrepreneurship life at all. I had no idea how to do a proper pitch. And people took a chance on me. They saw me as someone who could turn something into reality, and therefore they helped me. Someone told me pretty recently that when I'm doing a presentation, I shouldn't just ask what's in it for me, but to do something, to leave some people with something to take away. So I've got a challenge for everyone. The next time you see someone with a crazy idea, no matter what their age, no matter what their idea is, to take a chance and listen to it. Help them out. If it wasn't for my mentors when I was younger, if it wasn't for every person who told me that I can, I definitely would not be here today. So that's what I'm trying to do in the future. I'm Hilary Yip, and I'm so happy to be here today. If you have any questions after this session, please do talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hilary. So I'll just say some few words to wrap it up. Very soon we'll have the opportunity also to vote for a favorite. I'd like to give you maybe another observation from Startup Nation. I've been in a totally different industry. Okay. I told you I'm not running the show over here. Okay, so I'll just finish my thought and then we can take questions. Okay, so I've been for many years in the telecom industry. Over there we praise startups, but actually no one was buying for startups. If you're a startup, you were a danger for the company that actually would buy your tools, because everyone knew that they're going 3G, 4G, 5G, they knew where they're going, and they didn't really like to take the risk with startups. Now we are living in a very, very interesting time where all of us, all the giants around the world, we know that we cannot do more of the same in education. And we can also know that it's very difficult to bring innovation from inside. So we are looking for startups like Hilary, Elimaya, Viola, to bring us maybe some answers, ideas, because we know that we desperately need them. And I think that this is something which is right now unique in the global education industry, that we embrace all those startups because we say we cannot stay anymore doing more of the same. We need new ideas. So, Hilary, we'll ask now a couple of questions. First, I would like to listen to Hilary like having two different hats. One, you are speaking to a CEO of a global company very soon that is changing the world, but at the same time, you are speaking to a female teenager that can be a role model to so many other people around the world. So, wearing those two hats, I mean, who wants to be the first? That was the first question.
Actually, I talk to a lot of startups because I also run the accelerator program for us. We've invested in over 100 companies in the last 2 years. But I like the attitude and confidence that you have when you come out and talk. But one thing I would have to say as a investor, that everybody cares about is the quality of the leadership and the management. So as a young entrepreneur, what do you think you need to learn to be a true CEO?
I think that I still need to understand better of the adult intricacies of entrepreneurship. Because ultimately, since I'm still 13, there's some subtleties out there that I may not quite get. And I think that's something with a couple more months and a couple of more years, I'll be able to pick up.
2 months, all right.
So, I've been CEO for a while and I haven't picked them up yet. So, good luck with the 2 months. A quick question on the community that you're building. How do you moderate that community? How do you make sure that they adhere to standards that you want?
Yes, because this is ultimately a children's app. Safety's got to be a priority. So we've got a couple of measures. First would be we've got linked accounts to parents. That means parents are able to understand what's going on with their kids and what they're doing. Parents can also report, and that's one way we can get things done. Second thing is that for kids to be talking to one another, we charge a one-off $8 Hong Kong. So if worst comes to the worst, we can track it down to a single identity to pin down who this person is and to ban them, or if it's bad enough, to report to the police. And the other one is that we also have self-reporting features, and kids are very vigilant about this. Recently, we had one guy who had an adult as a profile picture, and within 10 minutes, we got more than 10 reports from the kids. Though in the future, we're also going to look into AI, because I have heard of NPIs, which can identify non-childlike behavior.
Hilary, can you describe to me your vision for the company? Where will you be, say, 3 years from now when you're 16?
For Minor Minus, my ultimate vision is to bring the world together through kids. Because right now, in our day and age, we're seeing so many worrying things going on. Whether it's xenophobia, racism, it's just scary. And I think that the best way to solve it is through kids, to bring the world closer together by the next generation. I also want to bring together more non-traditional skills into kids, because schools fail to provide that. And someone told me just last night that school does not teach learning, it just educates. And I think that's something that we need to do, to provide skills that will actually be useful for kids as well.
Thank you very much.
Great.
So thank you very much, Hilary, and we invite Elimaya. We Elimaya and Thomas to stage, and now we have some time to a couple of questions from the panel of experts over here. Who wants to be first?
So I was very interested in the how the learning app applies in different geographical situations where educational standards and curricula and so forth may be very different from one geography to another and one language to another and so forth. How does the app adapt to those situations?
Thank you for the question. At the moment, the application is in English, and we are starting with the English-speaking countries, but it's being coded that way that the language versions are easy to do. This solution is not linked to any particular curriculum. It doesn't answer the question, what? You still need learning materials, you still need books, audio content and such. It answers the question, how? How you're going to utilize the knowledge, what the teacher is actually doing in the classroom, what kind of teaching method she or he needs in order to activate and engage the students. So I would say that it suits very well wherever you are. And of course the teacher is then picking the best bits, either copying the whole lesson plan or then just taking the cherries on the cake.
Can I just follow up with that? So let's just say I'm a teacher and I'm in, I don't know, Western states of the United States of America, and I'm a teacher and I'm in South Africa. So I've got a common language, but the educational standards are different. In terms of the national standards, for example, and the not the content of the curriculum, but the way in which educational outcomes are measured and so forth. How is that, if I'm a teacher in South Africa, do I find that content that's going to be relevant to my environment? Is it filters that do that? Is it a search tool? Where do I find that?
If you want to utilize the other lessons that other teachers have been doing around the world, you can search them by age groups, by subjects. For example, if I'm a teacher and I'm about to teach about earthquakes, then I can go and search different kind of lesson plans done around earthquakes. So I can just select the whole lesson plan. Oh, great, this is suitable for my age group. Or then I can just pick few first building blocks of that lesson and start my own lessons with that one. Because we think that for the teachers who are not that skilled, it helps you to start with something, those ready to teach lessons. But once you are more advanced, then you are the one who can also contribute and share with others. So it's like this Chinese proverb that you give a fish and it will feed you for a day, but if you teach someone to fish, it will be sustainable and it will take the whole lifelong journey of that person.
Okay, one last question. Who wants to go?
Yeah. With the content that's uploaded by the teachers, how do you ensure that it's of an appropriate quality and that teachers are getting stuff that they can use well?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, it's been originally done by Finnish teachers and invented by Finnish teaching excellency, as everything is wrapped there based on pedagogy, very good. Inside the lesson app solution, there's going to be this social recognition system as well, we are not giving thumbs up, but we are giving apples to teachers, as teachers like apples. So it's also part of the teacher personal development when you know that, oh, people are actually downloading and searching my lessons. So it gives you sort of feeling of, I'm good. I will go on, and these are the areas I need to improve. Also, we are going to have the team who is checking the quality and, of course, cutting out all the, let's say, empty lesson plans and such. And I would say that our development area is definitely how to utilize the artificial intelligence so that it would be the one suggesting suitable lessons for you or a suitable teacher that please follow that person and you will be great in your own job.
Well, thank you very much for that. How are we on time? Oh, okay. So we'll move to the voting part. So we are going to post the barcode up there, and we are going to actually give you the option to pick your favorite. Can you please post it? You know, I see my picture behind. Oh, okay. Okay, now that's better. So we have about 1 minute to vote. While you're voting, you know, I don't know how it is in your country, but in our country they say that there are two kind of professions that don't actually like to share what they do. They always try to do it from scratch. It is chefs and teachers. So I don't know how many teachers actually would like to take half a recipe and continue. I'm not so sure that that's going to be very popular in Israel, but you know, each country has its own culture. And you know, while we're waiting, I remember when I started my talk, I discussed also the other people around us that we, you know, learn from them. So maybe that's an opportunity to give some cheers to Joy and Patrick, Hillary's parents that are homeschooling her right now and making sure that she will be successful. So the favorite over here is Find Solution AI. Congratulations, Find Solution AI, for reaching this peak of being the audience favorite. But I think the ground shows share, you know, the feeling that we liked all of the solutions over here, and we wish all of them a lot of success. Thank you very much.
Clapping on dragons.